Welcome to the Play vs. Fall 2020 High School Championship. My name's TJ, joined by Matt, Nigeria, and Daniel. We've been mixing and matching the intros, but we went standard that time.
I was ready for it. The one time I'm ready for the swap up, you're just like, you know what? We're going to throw him off. We're going to throw him for a loop. And you know what?
That's what you need to win. And speaking of teams that are going to need to win, man, my segues are great today. We're going to head into our first state final of the day as we go to Arkansas.
Exciting. I've never been to Arkansas, TJ. Have you?
No, well, I thought you were going to cover this tournament format graphic.
Oh, well, I can do that. Yeah, it's a best-of-3 series, single elimination, as is traditional for state championships. The score's going to be 5v5. We have 29 leagues competing in this tournament, including this most recent one for Arkansas, the Arkansas Activities Association. I'm wondering if that's abbreviated as AAA or Have to ask an Arkansonian.
It's more panicked because they're like excited. They're like, we're getting to do activities.
Esports.
That's how I feel about esports.
Me too.
Speaking of esports, God, this could be a good segue. We're into the draft.
Oh, that's clean.
Don Tyson over on the blue, Northside High School taking up the red as we head into the first of our 3-game series. We have cast Don Tyson previously, right?
Recognizing Cubsy, East Phantom 22. I think Laugh Wizard was there last time, but I'm not full committing to it, just in case I'm wrong.
You're hedging your bets on their previous existence. They
may have popped up for this tournament.
That was during the Play vs. Summer Showdown, which we cast. And if I'm not mistaken, and again, that was an awfully long tournament with a lot of casting. It was a fever dream of like 4 back-to-back days of 6 hours of casting. But I believe they won their match. I believe they won their state. So, Don Tyson are certainly coming into today's game with a good record. They were first place during the regular season. Let me make sure I get the numbers right. They won 15 games, lost just 1, and came in second. I apologize. Apparently, somebody in the regular season was perfect and did not make the finals.
Well done by Don Tyson, then. Knocking him out. Or maybe it was Northside.
Maybe it was Northside.
You know, TJ, the beautiful thing about us not remembering the results from the Summer Showdown off the top of our heads is, even if we're wrong, saying that Don Tyson won it will make Don Tyson very happy.
Yeah. The Don Tyson players get to watch this and be like, yeah, we won it in our hearts. If it's not true that they won it in real life. Let's talk about the draft. We're going to start things off with a victor over on the Don Tyson side. Northside will pick themselves up a Silas and a Jin. You know, I said the Don Tyson side, and then I automatically stopped myself from saying the Northside side, and now I regret that.
You really should have just rolled through it, TJ.
Don Tyson will continue with an Olaf and a Ezreal. The Northside side completes their first cycle.
There we go.
With a Volibear.
I like Volibear. We haven't seen a whole ton of them. I was checking out some of the current Volibear builds, both from pros and one tricks. The one tricks are doing some wild shenaniganry right now with AP Volibear, but the same people from the pros are going things like Divine Harvester. So more of a bruiser-friendly build.
Yeah, I'm generally fascinated by good Volibear play, just because I think that he's really fun post-rework. Being able to just Space Jam slam dunk on people is a real treat. But after he got knocked out of the jungle at the end of the last season, he's kind of, him and Renekton fill the same role in top laners. I guess you can draft if you don't get Ord. And so I've been a little disappointed by that development. Oh, speaking of Volibear being knocked out of the jungle, because of course there is a Camille locked in here. Camille is almost exclusively played in the top lane, which means this Volibear is presumably jungle.
You know what that means, TJ?
Silas is jungle, but I've never seen Volibear mid.
That just means, TJ, we got Kira as a Grizzly gamer.
You're right. Volibear absolutely had to be played by the Grizzly gamers, didn't it?
100% pick Vant. That's their key to success. I based this on literally nothing. But I believe in it.
Based on the name. That's something. Yeah. It's not good stats, but it is something. will complete the draft for Don Tyson. They're going to have Ezreal Braum in the bottom lane between Shen and Olaf. You can expect a lot of early focus down there, which is good for Don Tyson, because if they get that Ezreal Braum lane out ahead, then they will simultaneously be putting behind a Jhin lane, which is all important right now. Let's head into game number 1. As we do, Matt, tell me, who do you think's walking out of that draft ahead?
I'm really liking Don Tyson's innovations here. The
Thanks,
Ezreal.
Don Tyson.
Thanks, Don. I really like Ezreal combined with. We're friends.
Okay.
Ezreal combined with Victor is really cool as DPS because they both like to play from a distance, but have really strong team fighting in the case of Victor. I suspect what they're going to be doing is kind of dancing around these team fights until they can find a key engage, maybe. But I worry on the other side from Northside High School, the Grizzly Gamers themselves. They have a really strong team fight and like not a ton else on my read. So they're really going to need to find those 5v5s, find those sick engages from Ekiskarina. That took me a while. And Kira.
Yeah, I saw that name, and as with, I presume, anyone else who's dyslexic and is watching this broadcast, I did not attempt to read it. Their team fight is kind of weird, because my default read on it is they sure have a lot of frontline, and the Jhin can sit behind it. It's a throwback to the ADC-focused comps that the LCS was running last season. But I don't rightly know how this Volibear will be played. Maybe it will be a little bit more of a brawler. Maybe it will be a little bit more of an AP mage. You were theorizing about that possibility during one of our chats earlier today, so we do have options here, and if anything like that comes through, then it's a curveball, and I don't know how to rate this team.
TJ, I've done some very important research. Ekiskarina, their first name is Patrick, so I'm just going to call them Patrick. I think that is fair. Because that's their name. So, shoutouts to Patrick. Bot lane, no Patricks here, as far as I can tell. But there is a little bit of laning going on, and the one thing I wanted to highlight early on, didn't really get a chance to look at it, is the starting item for Ezreal. I am a little lukewarm on the tier start, because it means you can't find a whole lot of aggression in the early lane. That Jhin is going to bully you like crazy. Speaking of bullying, it's 2v2 here.
Kira going in for an early fight, and so far so good. East Phantom does fall. An early game Olaf dying as first blood. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Northside being able to out-Olaf the Olaf through a Volibear.
That's what Grizzly Gamers do, TJ. That's what Grizzly Gamers do.
Kira repping the school mascot, I guess.
I wonder what the school mascot is. I wonder what Don Tyson's school mascot is. Is it just Don Tyson? Is that the school mascot?
I don't... So, we had in my high school district a high school that was named after William McKinley. And their school mascot was not, in fact, William McKinley.
Okay.
Like the Bulldogs or something.
Good data.
Ooh, that was a very good taunt.
Yeah, a little bit of over-aggression there from Patrick. Going in with the hookshot wall dive anywhere near the tower is a recipe for disaster, especially against Shen. In a lot of matchups where Shen just gets bullied earlier, he'll sit behind the tower, wait for you to overstep, and then taunt combo you to death.
It'd be really good if the school mascot had been William McKinley, though.
Yeah. I don't actually know any facts about William McKinley, TJ. I was going to transition to, like, yeah, doing president stuff, I guess.
I was really enjoying just handing you that prompt, and I was waiting to see where you would go with it.
Nowhere.
Apparently, which is, as it turns out, not a letdown, because I enjoyed the uncomfortable silence just as much.
Now I have to look up the 25th U.S. president, TJ, to learn something about it.
Oh, I can tell you're already in program. I think a lot of Northside's game depends on the power of this Jhin down bottom, which I'm kind of writing off into Braum Ezreal, failing something really spectacular going right for them. that Jhin isn't going to get out ahead. That Jin's going to stay as a damage threat in mid-game and not a carry. Uh-oh.
A little bit of an engage coming out here. Disengage attempt coming out from DB Jams. They may be looking for more, able to find a lot of damage off the backline. There goes Laugh Wizard into the fight with a huge taunt. Zap's going to be caught on the other side of the blast cone. The 1v1 between Ezreal and Jhin. I don't think this one goes well for the Ezreal, who's now stuck behind enemy lines and constant support.
Get him out!
1 versus 4. There's no way to save Private Ryan at this point.
Get him out! No! Constant support will be CC'd down. And remember moments ago when I said failing something spectacular, this Jhin will struggle to find traction against an Ezreal Braum? I've just witnessed something spectacular. I'm still trying to process it because that Drake was already dead, but we sure did fight him.
The fight was weird, not only that they took it after the Drake was dead, or rather continued it after the Drake, but I think constant support going into 1v1 the Jhin was the most suboptimal play, to put it kindly. Which I guess is just a fancy way of saying worst.
Yeah, that wasn't very kind. That was very euphemistic.
No, that wasn't better. That was just more words
real
to say.
William McKinley moves now.
Sure, I don't know enough about him to contest that. But I think when you're playing Ezreal and you have access to the front line, you just keep it, especially in that fight. When you have tanky members, you have dive-focused members, alongside the consistent backline damage of Victor. But looking for a gank here is Kira.
Constant support, staying ahead. Will be able to get to safety, but Z is equally focused now and will be saved with a heal. Low HP on the Braum. Survival for both members of the bot lane for Don Tyson. You can see a concerted effort for Northside. We kind of theorized at the beginning of this game that Don Tyson wanted to win through the bot lane and that would be good for them. Northside agree. And they say, well, what if Don Tyson do not, in fact, win through the bot lane? And have been trying to shove this bot lane out of existence ever since the early game.
They won't find a lot of success in this. We're going to see, once again, the Gale Force Jhin coming in. And I think this is where things start to get really scary. Gale Force Jhin has just such assassination potential. Laugh Wizard played that really well. I know Shen mechanics aren't exactly the flashiest thing, but I really appreciate them.
Talk me through it. Break it down.
Okay, so he moved the sword with the Spirit's Refuge to follow Patrick. And Patrick went in for the engage. And that's cool. Look at that. Look at those auto attacks being blocked. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, he got a shield. Did you see that key barrier?
Yeah, actually, I kind of started this bit mocking him. Well, mocking you more than anything.
As you do.
Look at that! Really good Shen timings. It may all be undone as the Hextech ultimatum is dropped and Laugh Wizard is trapped in with an angry cow. And a lady with swords for light. One kill back over to Northside in that top lane. Don Tyson trying to get away from this push into the jungle. Are going to lose their jungler as well, I think. He's Phantom trying to make a turn. At least there's something back here in the mid lane. Don Tyson's only gained ground is through Cape Mateys. Oh, Cape Mateys on that Victor.
There's just some names in this game, TJ.
Cape Mateys.
There we go. Here comes the Stand United out from Laugh Wizard. We'll be able to take down the cow. Very well done by them. One more auto will do it. Catamatics. I like that one better. I like that pronunciation. 2-0 now on Victor.
I'm desperately scrolling for a pronunciation guide right here.
I'm just going to say Catamatics because it sounds cool. If it's Kate Maddox...
Their name is Drake Mayes? I'm butchered his real name as well now, so it cancels each other out.
I think that didn't help you at all, TJ.
If I butcher their real name and their in-game name, they have to forgive me.
Oh, I thought they'd like win a prize or something.
No, it's just I'm a lost cause at that point.
I understand.
Anyway, the fact that Kate Maddox is dominating in this early game is actually substantial for Don Tyson because they are looking for alternative win conditions after their bot lane goes down, after their jungler is successfully bullied twice inside their own jungle. So I think it's very important that Victor is out ahead. And now you start looking to, okay, well, when can we capitalize on that? When is they're realistically going to be able to be a threat from that Victor, and maybe this Ezreal even coming online? We're looking 20 minutes later than that. So it is on Don Tyson to survive through this early game without losing too much.
Ragnarok comes out, as does the Glacial Fissure, able to force the flash over the wall from Zap. Catamatics will zone out. Constant support looking for the 1v1 again. I don't know about this one, Chief.
It's not a 1v1!
Finds it.
He was sold a false bill of goods. A 1-for-1 trade will still get good work in for constant support. Catamatics
good gravity field.
Surviving with 1 HP. Does get away. I do not believe this. Kira will come in immediately after the minions. Unfortunately, shut down. Catamatics will have East Phantom into the 1v2 here. Ragnarok available.
Pick up the axe.
Will not go in for the undertop.
Come on, East Phantom. I know you. You got this. Get the axe. Anyways, that was my favorite thing that I've ever seen. The Victor dying to the ranged minions.
If he hadn't autoed that wave, he would have been fine.
It's really rough. It's like, if he'd had a potion, if he'd had literally like 2 more health regen, he would have been fine. Because it was 2 range minion autos that did him in, which is like 28 damage.
Catamatics running past the wave chose to attack it, I guess, to regen some HP. Maybe that was the
I think
thinking?
to get the siphon power. I think the shield from the Q.
Oh sure.
But then you have aggro on the minion wave, and they're really angry at you, as it turns out.
Unfortunate times in midlife. Kira may have been able to catch Catamatics anyway, because they did a flash up zone.
I think dying to the minions at a certain point becomes a positive from that lens. Just like,
Yeah,
well, at least you're denying
didn't
Kira the kill.
Alistair get the kill?
DB James.
Yeah.
Or DB Jam 3S. So I struggled in an earlier team fight. I was like, it's a bunch of consonants and then an am.
Jams.
Jams.
You're listening to J3 Jams. Something along those lines. Start a radio station. Anyway, Northside, at the end of all that, do have a pretty substantial lead from the kills they found during this early game, coupled down with the early breaks, and it's looking good for them. Again, John Tyson, based on what is working for them, by that I mean Catamatics, they want to last as long as possible. They're going to be looking to be participants in this game around the 20-minute mark, if not later. So, the way we should be pitching this is Don Tyson, yes, are losing by 3,000 gold right now, but they're not losing any turrets yet, and as long as they don't go for any fights, maybe you have to see this next Drake, and that's unfortunate, we still very much can see them turn this around once we go late.
So far, though, everyone's still scaling up. We see a few mythics coming out, but the one I'm really looking for that I'm not seeing is Laugh Wizard, considering how well they're doing in the lane.
It is DB James.
Okay.
Because it is James Ban who is playing that support. He's pursuing his dreams to one day be a day trader or investor.
Oh, I thought he just really likes databases. That's DB. Fortunately, he likes investing instead. I'll figure out what that means in DB. It's Laugh Wizard. Looking for the 1v1. Finds the 1v3 instead. Not quite what you're looking for. Key Barrier gives a decent amount of shielding, but it will not be enough to stay alive as Catamatics blows the ultimate. There comes the dive from Kira. Now off the side, East Phantom comes in. Ragnarok, Undertow to follow it up onto Xgarna, our boy Patrick. Going down, the double kill for East Phantom, and Chase now goes down onto Kira. So much health, but not enough. The triple kill comes out. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, TJ, take it away.
Good true shot barrage did come through. Great work from this duo. Cupd just holding the front lines there. And that means this fight isn't over. Constant support would even like a way to get back into this. Thanks to some good stuns, it's possible. Curtain Call will be deployed. Oh, with the stand united, this is eminently survivable. Everyone is low on the opposite side, but Laugh Wizard is coming. He's going to have a wave to push.
This is so dangerous. Please leave. You're giving me anxiety. Constant and Cubsy just need to accept that they got away with that and just dip.
But they're low too. Look at how low that Alistair is.
Yeah, but that's a Jhin. He kind of specializes in killing people who are low health. And I think, especially for constant support, the one build I've started to see more from Ezreal's that I really like is Divine Sunderer first, with just a tier starting to stack. And while that stacks the tier slower, you get a lot more off your first item back in terms of raw trading power. Given that that is not the build constant support went for, I think they need to be really happy that they didn't die there. Like, that full stop should be a victory in and of itself.
The Ezreal having Muramana means that they're just kind of not a participant in this early game. And they will be once that Muramana completes. But again, we're talking about the 20-minute mark, if not later for that. That's when the Ezreal's going to power spike. That's when this Victor's going to really be online. And I think that is when Don Tyson are looking to win. So if you want to pitch this game as going well for them, you have to frame it within, okay, well, Northside aren't actually accomplishing that much on the map.
Oh no, Cubsy, run! Will be the concussive blows stacked all the way up on Kira. No, they don't finish it off. This is a disaster. Teleport coming out as well. East Phantom finally finds Zaps. Should be a save to this fight. Kira goes down as well. The double. East Phantom still alive. The Gore Drinker does so much healing. The triple comes out. Master Arrow over the wall. Flash from Katamatics will find the finish. And now Ekaskarna. Patrick is in trouble. 3 more autos are needed, but Camille has a very escapable kit. Finally find the stun, but she is so beefy compared to that Braum, who falls down trying to take out the 2v1. Now Katamatics has been called in as air support.
Comes Katamatics in to end this nonsense. Hook shot engaged does a lot of damage, but not quite enough. Our boy Patrick will finally fall. I would like to address the utter chaos that just happened. Lack Wizard and East Phantom at the very front of that fight took so much damage. Constant support was separately trying to win a 1v1 and lost it, because again, this Ezreal isn't big yet. But fired a true shot, I think just trying to win their 1v1, and missed. And the true shot came through and saved the rest of the team fight.
Katamatics goes down at the beginning of this team fight as the curtain call comes out. There's DB James down. Ragnarocking Silas is terrifying, but incredibly low health. Finds the shutdown onto the Olaf. There goes the Ezreal as well, following up. Last Blizzard so low. Not going to be able to finish it off as the triple kill comes in here for Kira. A true Grizzly gamer.
Very unnecessary fight from Don Tyson. You won up top. There is no reason. They won up top. They won the Rift Herald. They are not yet at an activation point. They are not yet at a power spike. So there is no reason to go for an even fight. Without your support, it's not even an even fight. It was a disadvantaged fight that they opted into because they hoped they could kill the Drake before Northside got close. Don Tyson can't win everything, and I think it would be... I think one of the lessons that they need to be drawing from this game is to better evaluate which fights they ought to be taking. Because all of the ground they gained with the top lane Rift Herald pit fight that was good, that they were winning, has now, I fear, been undone by the fact that Northside got a couple of free kills alongside that Drake.
Meanwhile, Katamatics being chased down by DB James. That should be a very dead Victor. Oh, Chaos Storm in response. Katamatics is chasing down, actually. Gravity Field comes out. Here comes Kira. Ults into the front line. Good taunt comes out from Lab Wizard, but no, goes sideways. Will not be able to find the taunt on the massive bear, who's just tearing up this front line with the Sunfire Aegis. Zaps, Gale forces out to safety. Very good use of the Mythic passive there.
But it's a 2v3, now a 2v4. Why are they stepping into this?
I don't know.
The turret, East Phantom will be able to successfully shut down DB James. But that was, you land the Glacial Fissure, they're not going to be able to take the turret if you back up. But because Don Tyson stepped back in, now they're going to lose everything behind their turret. East Phantom will get at least one more over. But it's a double kill before the fighting settles, Master Arrow, now with a hefty chunk of gold in their pocket.
Oh my god, constant support goes in. We'll find Zaps, but I think if we can have a second, folks, I want to break down what just... Apparently not. I just want them to chill for a second. I want to break down what exactly Don Tyson just lost in all of those fights combined, because over the Rift Herald, that was a very good fight. You were able to get a lot of kills onto your Olaf, but remember, he's the jungler. He's not meant to be a quaternary carry, because he's not even tertiary at this point. I think Shen's a better carry. And then you go into this point... Well, that's third, and then there's quaternary.
Yeah, but you said... Continue. You're making a point.
Okay, anyways. Yeah. I think that's a cool advantage to have, but not a particularly powerful one. And then you go into that fight towards the Drake, and now your opponent has Ocean Soul on the map. Like, that is a very real possibility. 3 Drakes in a row. And you go for that fight not because there's a particularly powerful reason to go for it. Denying the dragon is good, but that doesn't mean you sacrifice all thought for it.
Whoa. This is already another one of those unnecessary fights. Big kill to Kira to start it off. Stand United will be stolen and deployed to keep the Jhin alive for so long. By the time Xavier finally falls, the tide has thoroughly turned against Don Tyson. It is going to be 2 kills in the front line, 1 going over again to the Alistair. And here is Patrick, hook-shotting in, Cubsy barely alive. Arrow's got the kill for sure. The only survivor is Katamatics.
Not for much longer, TJ. That's going to be the double kill there for Master.
What Don Tyson were trying to build up towards in the late game has, I think, been chipped away by a couple of over-eager fights here, which I don't want to harp too much on, but it is something, it is a very tangible decision-making error that has gone awry here.
Well, and it's happening time and time again, so it feels like the heuristics are just off. And now you can no longer win these fights. You know, constant support still doesn't have Divine Sunderer. This should have been at the 20-minute mark. Potentially you could have had this. But because they've been constantly fighting, because constant support hasn't had a chance to farm. Really, you take all these fights, you lose the ability to farm. And Zaps hasn't farmed either, but Zaps really isn't the carry, and is still up 30 CS. So I think for Don Tyson, if you want to find a way to succeed from here, you need to wait for your Ezreal to scale. Finally has 2 items. Now you can feel like you fight, but I believe they're so far behind that it doesn't much matter that the Ezreal's hit 2 items.
Yeah, that is where this begins to be a problem. Because now we're at a point where the Ezreal ought to be power spiking, where Don Tyson ought to be going, okay, we've been playing passive, now we can go aggressive, because everyone's come online. And if they don't win these next couple of fights right now, they will not be able to get back into this game. It is, they are at a deficit still. They have not received the power spike. They're roughly in the same position they were moments ago because they were driven behind by the weird fights that they were taking. And now they must kill this Drake, else Northside get the Ocean Soul. And they must win this fight, else they lose this game.
Oh! Dragon will go down. Constant support in the backline, providing a ton of damage. True Shot Barrage will get him the max attack speed stacks. And that should be enough to put out enough damage. But look at the AoE as well from Katamatics. The huge Chaos Storm. Master Arrow goes in for the re-engage, but will be punished for him. Ease Phantom should have one more Undertow. Gets taken down. Zaps flashes out to safety, but will be finished off by Katamatics. And Don Tyson pull the game back from the brink of defeat.
I said they must win this fight, and they executed the best team fight Don Tyson's School of Innovation have put together this entire game. Our tanky frontline, Cubsy, Lap Wizard, East Phantom, stood in the front lines whilst Catmatic and Constant Support were allowed to free fire in the back lines, racking up the full benefits of this Ezreal power spike, having completed Muramana and Divine Sunderer. This is when the Ezreal does the most damage in the video game, and they got Ezreal a fight wherein uninterrupted Constant Support and Katamatics, to be fair, could just launch damage into the entire mass of Northside players.
And if Northside keep taking fights like that, to be fair, that was like a fine fight, it was over Soul. But if they keep resolving in the same way where Katamatics and Constant Support are able to get away, that's just the game. Because Katamatics is going to be providing so much AoE damage like we saw with that Chaos Storm, everyone was just sitting and soaking in it. The Northside Grizzly gamers got marinated in Chaos Storm, and that is not a situation you want to have describe your team fight. Now, Catamatics, finding a pick on them is a really good play, but it will be difficult. And you have to lock down Catamatics or constant support, or you will lose the fight. And that is the situation that I think Northside High find themselves in going forward.
You know what I learned about today?
What?
Forest bathing.
What?
See, I thought you'd know this because you live in Delaware. But it's like a hippie thing, slash also something that like some right-wing libertarian types believe in, where it's really good for your body to be naked in the forest because you're like going back to your roots. I don't know, never tried it. Maybe I should try forest bathing.
Sure.
There was a tie-in here.
I don't know what the tie-in is there, TJ, yeah, but...
Because they were bathing in the electric storm. That was
okay.
Brought it up. It's not really actually a tie-up. I don't know. Just sparked it in my
You just
head.
wanted me to hear about forest bathing and understand that there are levels of redneckness, and I haven't peaked yet.
Well, also like it's like a circle because it's the hippies are also into it.
It's the horseshoe theory of forest bathing.
Yeah, it's really big in. I was finding one community that was like libertarians and based in Texas, and one community that was like Oregon freethinkers, spirit healing people, and they were also into forest bathing. I don't know. Just excited for the both. I'm glad they found something that makes them happy.
Me too, TJ. Me too. On Tyson,
Meantime.
not finding anything that makes them happy right now.
Okay, let's talk through the process towards them getting to a happy place, though. Towards them being able to go back to their primal roots and absorb the essences of the forest. I think step one is you cannot allow Northside to get a Drake. Obviously, if Northside get another Drake, they get the Ocean Soul, they very likely win the game off of that. Step two of that is constant support must always be safe alongside Catamatics in the backlines of these team fights.
Cubsy playing like a monster there, able to completely zone off and even almost find a pick on Kira. Now, DB James, a whole lot of trouble. We'll find the knockup, but not get out safely. Finished off there by Laugh Wizard, and lots of pings going down onto Baron. I'm not sure how safe this is, though.
It's a kill on to the enemy support, which means that Northside can't team fight for the Baron. But that doesn't mean that if Don Tyson start the Baron, it will not go awry. I want to also point out that this Drake is up. The far safer play would be to play for the Drake. Here we go. Kira over the wall. Curtain call as well. Cubsy down. This is a disaster.
Nobody blocking for Cubsy, and now East Phantom and Catamatics are having to 2v3, essentially. There goes constant support onto the side, but has no one backing them up. There will be the solo kill onto Zaps, and that'll disengage the fight, but that just really was not worth it for Don Tyson.
It was a bad... there was a player advantage. With DB James down, the right play for Don Tyson would have been to use that missing player to play aggressive and set up vision control around this next Drake, because it is the soul, because it is the win condition for Northside, and now that instead they have lost a fight around the Baron, it is unlikely that Don Tyson are going to be able to come back into this Northside. By contrast, executed a very good punish of that mistake, bringing the curtain call from range, focusing down the players that absolutely must die. As a result, they will grab the Ocean Soul, and with it, very likely, game number one.
It's really hard from this position to fight back if you're Don Tyson. I think all Northside have to do is just extend these fights. As long as they don't end immediately, Northside are going to be able to survive them just through the virtue of Ocean Soul. So, unless Catamatics has some crazy burst combo up their sleeve, this is all but done and dusted.
It's looking very, very good for Northside. And a lot of that, like, we have been a little quiet on, for instance, Apex, who's playing Jhin. It's not one of those flashy Jhins that one-shots people, but they've been doing sustained damage throughout fights. So where has the success been coming from? If it's not from the AD carry, a lot of it is the rather boring answer of, well, they've had really good team fights. But the X factor has been Kira, who, outside of those team fights, and inside them to be fair, has been an unexpected monster on this tank Volibear, just doing absurd amounts of damage.
And I think the key as well is the amount of disruption Kira's been able to put out. Like, Kira jumps into the middle of a fight, not only survives it or stays alive for a long period of time, but immediately draws everyone's fire, and that gives Master Arrow and Zephyz time to play around the edges of the fight. Same for Ekiskarna, Patrick. Being able to find ways in from the side, being able to find flank creative angles, and because Kira is so tanky, because Kira and DB James prevent such a disruptive front line, you're able to send your other damage carries off into the winds to try and find constant support, try and find catamatics, which we've mentioned before. It's the way you win these fights. You pick down one of those two DPS members, and they've been doing a great job of that.
Master Arrow, in particular, on the Silas, has been doing a very good job of that. Almost every fight, there is a single-minded focus from that Silas on getting to the back line of Don Tyson.
A lot of good ultimates to steal, too, for
Jump
the
on him,
Silas.
Kira!
Go! Go, Giant Bear!
Activate Bear Form.
I think they'll ban the Grizzly Gamer next game.
I suspect that if Kira can do this on Volibear jungle...
But you can do it on something like Nunu as well, I think, pretty easily.
Yeah.
Maybe Sejuani more than Nunu. I'm thinking, because...
My point was anything, because Volibear, as far as tank kits go, I mean, it's like fine. Like I said, very interchangeable with a lot of other top laners, so...
The power is in the disruption he brings, right? It's not in the, like, 1v1 potential, so I'm thinking about other tank junglers that are about disruption. Because Nunu is not. Nunu just kind of finds some knockups, finds some zone control, but is not going to go into the middle of a fight and make you pay attention.
Set jungle.
Woo! That would be an option. Genuinely. Like, that's very disruptive.
We haven't seen set jungle since that old LCS season, though. So. I assume Sejuani is probably a more accurate alternative.
Oh, TB James, dirty, constant support and a whole lot of trouble. There goes Kira, huge jump. Stand United will be there, but it won't catch from the Shadow Dash anyone on the side of Northside. They will now be diving forward into the backline. Cubsy low, beautiful knockup again from DB James, who will finally fall. East Phantom goes low. Zephyz left alone in the team fight. What happened, guys? Come back! Come back for your fellow Grizzly Gamer! They will finally do so, as Catamatics still alive in the backside, but a Hextech Ultimatum will shortly fix that. Goes Golden. Meanwhile, that gives time to take down Laugh Wizard. The assassination comes out. Zephyz finishes off Catamatics. This will be the finishing off of the team fight, as Ekiskarna finds one last kill.
It felt like halfway through that fight, like Northside maybe just wanted to do the Baron and had forgotten about the rest of their team. But we worked it out. Halfway through the fight, Arrow and DB James have both gone down. Arrow like dove the turret and just got full CC'd. And Don Tyson see that and they're like, all right, let's go. Let's team fight. Let's go. And Zayfex is left running for their life while the rest of Northside have decided to go check on Baron, clear some vision. Because surely Don Tyson aren't going to play aggressive.
I think the funniest thing, I'm relating so much to Zayfix. This is my solo queue experience, where I'm just left kind of, alright, there's 3 assassins, they're all diving on me, and my team is doing something else. If I can just stall, we win the game. So, Zayfix doing a fantastic job of that, because their role is no longer to be that carry, as we see constant support barely surviving.
Oh. What a sad day for Patrick.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny to call him Patrick when he's sad.
Cheer up, Patrick. We got you covered. Elder Drake coming up.
Okay. You're going to win the game, but looks like Patrick.
Yeah. Cheer up, chum.
Why don't we do this for our, like, esports boys broadcast? The next time I'm on an official Riot broadcast, I'm going to call some players by their first name.
I think we should. I think it humanizes them.
I think it's adorable.
Next time Haunter
I don't know
does
if that's
something
the
weird.
same thing, but it feels equally important.
Next time Haunterful does, Kevin, bud.
I'll be real with you, Kevin. That wasn't a great play. No cutscene.
Oh, beautiful engage. Double engage from DB James and Kira. initiates the fight. Laugh Wizard, of all people, is getting burned down in the front line. DB James survives, finds another beautiful pulverize. Constant support falls to Excarna in the bottom side of the fight. Zafe is still alive, the double kill, and the root will follow. And all he needs to do is be support Jin at this point.
I can face check this bush and play Braum. It'll be fine. What are they going to do? Playing Braum. I got so much HP.
What are they going to do? One-shot me? Yeah, bud. That's kind of how this game's been going. Like a grape in a microwave.
That game ended real fast as Don Tyson call a surrender for game number 1. Going over to Northside in very, very controlled fashion. Normally, when a scoreline looks like that, we pitch it as, oh, that was a dominant game from Northside. And we spent an awful lot of that game kind of saying the opposite. We spent an awful lot of that game saying Don Tyson, frankly, should win this if they play to their win condition, and then they didn't. And I want to just clarify, we're not saying that because we're saying that because that particular game very specifically was within reach for Don Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
I think had they played a little bit more passive during the mid-game, played around their spike at the 20-minute mark, that game was frankly theirs to lose. And so we are calling it out because from the perspective of someone who watches a lot of League of Legends, that is a game that Don Tyson should have won.
Mm-hmm.
So, Don Tyson, something to look back on. At Northside, something to be very proud of, because not only, of course, did Don Tyson take a few silly fights, but Northside won a lot of very good fights, with a very good knowledge of what Don Tyson's win condition was in fights, how Don Tyson was trying to preserve their backline, and good ability cycling to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, 90% of playing well at the professional level is simply just capitalizing on your opponent's mistake. And Northside, boy howdy did they. My God. Every single time Don Tyson just dove headfirst, they were like, you know what? We win these. Let's go. Worked out for him.
And if you can make that happen, you can be the Arkansas State champions. We'll find out. There's one more game still for Don Tyson to turn things around. If they win this game 2, we go all the way to game 3. You won't want to miss game number 2 of our best of 3 state final. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. Welcome back to the Play vs. Full 2020 High School State Championship for Arkansas. My name is TJ.
My name is Niberia, and apparently I'm on fire, so I'm going to try and fix my webcam, because whatever this is was not happening during the break. I have
like
no idea how this began. Yeah, I'm very shiny.
Could you turn it up? Could you become more shiny?
I think so. Let's find out. Hold on. There we go.
Let's go to the draft for game number 2.
Can we get this to... It's a little better. That's a little depressing. But
it looks
you know
like
what?
You're in an Aaron Sorkin movie or something.
Just gotta talk fast and pretend to be witty.
Could you? Well, that's already your job. Don Tyson did lose game number 1, with Northside taking a strong win. We criticized Don Tyson a lot. I want to make sure we talk up how well Northside played as well. A lot of that came from Kira in the jungle, which is certainly something we want to see reinforced here in game number 2.
I think also we did not talk a lot about Ekaskarna out of lane, because it really was, Laugh Wizard was clapping that 1v1 matchup and was doing incredibly well on the Shen, but as soon as Ekaskarna got out of that lane, Boyd Patrick popped off. Like, absolutely undeniably in those team fights was disgusting. So that is really what I'm looking forward to seeing more of. That is what I would try and limit if I were Don Tyson, because out of lane, Ekaskarna was terrifying.
And it was necessary. Both him and Master Arrow had to go big in order to stop a backline-focused damage composition from Don Tyson. And that is exactly what they did, repeatedly assassinating constant support and Kate Matix, whose name we are 100% saying wrong, over and over again to deny Don Tyson a chance at the win.
That's how I was saying the name wrong. That was the strategy.
Yes. Here in Game 2, Kate Maddox and Constant Support will 1-2 the same champions. We get Jin and Victor. Oh! I just want to point out, I was maybe right that we're going to see a set in this game. There's already an Olaf, so reset support most likely. Kira, who did look so good during game number 1, with the Olaf set down to support, we also have a Kai'Sa and a Shen.
I really like the pickup from the Shen here, once again for Laugh Wizard. I think Catamatics as well did really well on the Victor. I think the one wild card here is constant support on the Jhin, because this is... Last game, it was Zafix on the Jhin, and that went okay. But I think I want to point out that the lane is where constant support kind of struggled, and the itemization was such that they could not catch back up. So I want to see a lot of aggression out of this Jhin, or at least a very dominant early lane.
I just want to see constant support play Jhin because of the flashing in on Ezreal. And I believe that we're going to get that on Jhin as well, and I am psyched! I also think it's worth noting Zayfex on the Kai'Sa has a lot more safety, and that may have been the lesson learned from the Jhin game, was, oh boy, it sucks to be playing Jhin. I'll play Kai'Sa so that I can run away. I'm going to play Kai'Sa so that I can kill her instincts. And indeed, we have a lot more assassins this time on Northside, as we grab a Diana and a Camille as the final two. There will be, you're going to be very happy you're not playing Jhin this game, Zayfex, because there will be a Kayn and a Thresh in response.
I really like this draft from both teams. I think Don Tyson has a better traditional composition once you get post 6. It's going to be really strong, especially post transform for East Phantom. But Northside's bringing out some funky stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm after this draft riding the Northside train because of the amount of assassination pressure they have onto the backline. I do not think either Victor nor Jhin will be a threat in this game. I think the thing that can turn this around is how well that bot lane plays. If constant support can put together a better game here on the Jhin, if Cubsy can be equally effective as they were on Braum, now on Thresh, that's a lot more utility for the bot lane to work with. That's a lot more damage for the bot lane to work with. And there could be a change in fortunes through that.
I really think that Don Tyson could find their way through this, like you're saying. Then that's why I tend to favor them here, is because once they get rolling, this composition really just sticks it to Northside. It's a snowball dependent matchup, and if the Grizzly Gamers get out ahead early, I suspect they just win the game.
We'll find out. It's time for game number 2. Northside 1 game away from winning this state championship. Don Tyson, our favorites from the Summer Showdown, unfortunately a few steps behind.
I think this game, what I want to see from Don Tyson, aside from the overarching how this composition wins, just chill a little. Take whatever chill pills you need. Maybe get a nice, refreshing glass of water or something.
Well, okay.
Some tea.
Can I hit you with a hard disagree?
You can. I think you'd be wrong, but you can.
They are now running a composition that would benefit massively from winning an early game skirmish.
Okay, I can see that. I think my only point of concern for that is the Kayn, because Kayn early on is, how do I put this? Garbage?
Yeah. Wait for Kayn to hit 6, and that'll be good, because you also get Shen at 6, right? But once we get John Tyson to 6, I want to see them start looking for fights during that early mid-game transition. Because once we go late, you're dealing with Diana, Camille to dive any backline in a team fight. Set, it's phase rush set, so will be less of a threat, but still is a CC monster.
What I want to see coming out of Zayfix is I want to see what build they're preferring right now. Kai'Sa is in a really weird spot where I saw on pro build stats, I want to say 7 different variations on Kai'Sa builds, including like Duskblade Kai'Sa, so you can really itemize her adaptively to the game state you find yourself in. Like this one, I wouldn't hate Gale Force Kai'Sa, which is a recent adaptation that's come out.
Oh, already really good set engage down bottom here actually. Zayfex staying ahead of all this will be ignited. Cubsy in trouble, but it's a flash punch. Both supports find the kill. Zayfex is down. Also, constant support got bodied. DB James will run away in fear of what he has wrought. And Cubsy is very low. I don't think there can be a turn. Cubsy gets 2 kills down there in the bot lane. I do not know what to make of it.
Terrifying Thresh. I think if DB James had just gone forward onto Cubsy as soon as he saw the Kayn and just been like, you know what, I die no matter what, I might as well get a trade kill for it. I think it might have been a little bit better, but I ultimately think all the kills after the 80 carries are a wash. Like, Thresh with any itemization, any extra gold is not particularly terrifying unless it's Moby Boots first and there's a lot of roaming involved.
I'm gonna disagree with you. Hi, support man. Thresh does know any HP right now, and the extra gold means he will reach being an actual tank much sooner. Normally, Thresh kind of mid-game spikes because he transitions from being an enchanter to being a tank. And we're going to get there faster now, so it actually is pretty good to have gold on Thresh.
Yeah, I just don't think it's particularly terrifying compared to, you know, constant support having a few extra points in AD.
I agree. Forbidden though that may be.
Yeah, we must be contrarian here. It's the point of having two broadcasters if they don't constantly disagree, TJ.
I don't know. You'd have to watch I Love Lucy.
That's a deep cut. When was the last time that was on air?
Probably still syndicated somewhere.
I'm so curious. I'll have to look it up on the break.
I'm 100% sure there is a television channel right now in America airing I Love Lucy.
Because there used to be like Boomerang. What was it? I think it was like Game Show Network, GSN. Used to show a lot of old shows.
What?
Yeah, used to show I Love Genie.
That's not a game show.
Yes, TJ.
Why
That
would
is
you call
correct.
your network the Game Show Network and then not show game shows?
I don't know. It was like 90% old syndicated either sitcoms or just procedurals or stuff. So it'd be like I Love Genie.
But hello, I have the Game Show Network. Well, what do you have on your network? Ah, sitcoms.
It's good branding, TJ. You get them in with the softy of, hey, game shows. And they're like, oh man, I do like I Love Genie.
That's actually a huge combo down there. Constant support.
Ooh.
One auto away from death, and Zafix goes for the Void Seeker instead. Doesn't get the kill.
Yeah, I slightly disagree with that decision. I understand the fear of following up there because you totally can just get absolutely blasted by the Thresh if he's there, or if you don't have a flash out. But flash was available, so I think Zafix could have gone in for the auto, get the kill, get out. But at the very least, coming home with a one-wave advantage over the Jhin.
Are you playing aggressive or not? Constant support would have gone for that auto.
Yeah, but I think Zafix is remembering last game where the Jhin was just a constant punching bag.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
I think the Game Show Network people are just copying the History Channel's business model, wherein the name bears no relation to the content.
Here on the History Channel, we're talking about the future of Ancient Aliens. I watched that transition.
What?
Yeah, no, that's I watched that transition in real time, TJ. Like, as a kid,
Where they
I
went
loved...
from like a real educational channel to
'cause,
Ancient Aliens.
when I was a kid, my dad... my parents were divorced, so I'd go over to my dad's weekend, every other weekend, sort of like this gank.
We're having to pay attention to this, because this could be huge.
Stand United comes out. Will be falling onto constant support, who's still alive through this. DJ James taking a lot of damage, but not down just yet. Cubsy falls down, and Laugh Wizard now in a 1 versus 4. Don't really recommend that. Oh, beautiful from Ekiskarna. The Hextech Ultimatum comes through. And that is a beautiful, beautiful team fight from Northside once again.
We're not done yet, baby. Kate Medics called out. Will be shut down.
There it is.
Baby. As Northside inevitably grab a massive team fight down bottom. This actually has devastating impacts for the entire game. Remember last game we were talking so much about how Northside very clearly wanted to boost their bottom lane ahead. They never really got to do it last game, because they were playing into Ezreal and Braum, and despite their bottom lane getting a lead, you're never going to knock Ezreal Braum out of the game entirely. We are now in a position where that O2 Jhin is very likely not going to do anything this game.
Yeah, and I think that's off the back of really good coordination from the side of Northside. I thought that was going to be the end of the fight there. When Laugh Wizard came in with Stand United, I figured that was it, but teleports, rotations all coming in from Northside at beautiful times. Ekiskarna, once again, on this Camille is just dirty. because you don't expect those flanks to come out when they do, and Ekaskarna was just kind of farming and then saw, hey, maybe I can make something happen here, and showed up out of the blue. And I think that's what they're going to be looking for if they want to keep taking advantage in this bottom lane, is more roams, more TP flanks, and I think they could snowball this into a win pretty easily.
Very possible. I think this is looking very, very good for Northside. If you're a Northside fan, parent, or student, you can go home now.
Woo.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I don't know about
It's
that,
like
TJ.
baseball where you leave at the 6th inning.
Then you get
God, I
home and you
hate
see the
those
news.
people.
That was me.
You know, maybe this is me showing my true colors as somebody that cared about baseball too much as a kid. But even when I wasn't like in the stadium, if I was watching a game on television and I saw people standing up and leaving, I thought like I would get so angry.
As someone who didn't watch baseball, I don't really get that, but I don't have to, because Ekaskarn is going for a 1v1 onto Laugh Wizard, saving me from knowing anything about baseball. Laugh Wizard falls down to Kira.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, engage in the bottom lane, apparently? And the mid lane? What's going on?
Kate Maddox goes down. Master Arrow will survive the electric storm. Down in the bot lane, nothing came of the engagement. Constant support got poked down, but the Thresh was able to frontline. Benefits of having a Thresh with a little bit too much gold.
TJ, this could be the Dustblade Kaisa. I spoke it into existence, and I apologize.
Man, DB James has been constantly finding engages on Set, which is actually really impressive. Set has a very, very short engage range, so it's it's normally very difficult for Set supports to be able to find full combos, but DB James has been doing it consistently.
Oh, Zafix is just dead here. Should be. Killer Instinct is really good out of the fight. Dodge away from the Deadly Flourish. Come on, DB James, come in. Save your AD carry, please.
Stand United.
Goes so far. Stand United comes out. Voidseeker is not there, but East Phantom is one return kill from DB James. Maybe able to find two, but Cubsy has to go golden, and now that should actually be the rotation out onto the Dragon.
What was DB James doing?
Mm.
I don't want to. We just talked him up a lot, so I feel as though it would be unethical for me to point out that DB James ran up into the jungle to set up warding for the Drake, and just lost everything because of it. Drake will be secured here. Bite on Tyson, and East Phantom gets away with it.
That's ridiculous. East Phantom should have been 100% punished for that play, but Don Tyson playing out of their minds, apparently. DB James looking for another engage. Will be able to find it. Lunar Rush
Finally.
quickly finishes that off. Kira in trouble.
They got happy feet. They're fine. Electric
Chaos Storm disagrees.
Won't grab them, sorry. TP is coming in the meantime. That will be Laugh Wizard arriving in the fight the slow way. And diving in with the Shadow Step. No HP remaining on DB James. Kira similarly low, but Kira finds the kill. And Arrow, in the meantime, has dove into the back lines. And between those two kills, with constant support and Laugh Wizard down, Northside find a win out of a very strange river engagement.
And I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about this Kaisa build, honestly. I know I was talking it up earlier.
You mentioned it. Tell me about Duskblade Kaisa.
So, Dustblade Kaisa kind of comes out of the fact that Kaisa can build around her Q damage, and once you get that AD, it evolves really quickly, does a ton of damage, and lethality is one of the most gold-efficient ways to get it up there. But all of these builds usually revolve around Muramana as well, because it's the highest source of AD in the game. It means that you're going to be doing a lot with that Acathian Rain later on in the game. Without a tier, I think Zafix is going to fall off a cliff damage-wise in the late game, and if they have nobody else far out ahead, it's all on Ekaskarna and Kira to do damage in the mid to late game at this point, unless I see a tier. And if I don't, I really think Don Tyson might win just off that item difference.
If you don't see a tier, you may have a tier, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was a Hex Flash engaged down bottom. We cut away because it was a little too gross to show on Play Versus.
Gotta keep it appropriate, TJ.
We view the action happening up top. Don Tyson, I believe, aren't starting a fight anywhere for once. And so we're going to have a chill moment. Northside are in the lead, and a pretty firm lead at that.
I was really confused when I was looking at that gold lead, because I was thinking, you know, consciously I was like, okay, Kira and Arrow are doing really well again, and Zafis is doing like okay in the bottom lane. DB James is getting cool engages. Well. Yeah. And Northside are just massively in the lead right now. They have to find some assassinations to stop this if you're Don Tyson.
Well, the big thing is Don Tyson, as this fight is going to go wrong. East Phantom
might not.
Around. I believe that was a Stand United just cast. Kira finds the kill in the backline. Cubsy will be trying to just tie Kira up here, while East Phantom did get their own kill. Arrow is already out of this fight. Zafix does arrive here, has to flash to safety, will go down to the ignite from Cubsy, and now Don Tyson have managed to make that weird engage work. They will be winning this fight so far. Dive in, Cubsy very low. Same for East Phantom, killed to TB James. That set support doing a lot of work thanks to the Bambi Cinder. And with a flash away, and the Hex Deck ultimatum, TB James has turned the fight. TP's in now again. Kate Maddox will be arriving. TB James, this time, will go down. And despite it all, Don Tyson do win the fight. Northside falling behind a couple of kills.
DB James is kind of silently the MVP here. Engage coming out from Arrow. No ultimate available for the time being. Killer Instinct follows up from Zafix, but not enough damage. No Muramana to be found, just the Dustblade, and you're not going to see a whole ton of damage coming out of here. Finally, they get the takedown. Ekiskarna goes in for another engage. Katamatics barely makes it out with a sliver of health, and Zafix getting chased down in the backline. The Q is not going to be enough. Acathian Rain won't find it, and Aster Arrow finds one in response. Night Harvester doing a ton of work. Lunar Rush will go forward. Here comes Kira to zone them off.
Just watching ARAM! This is just ARAM!
Yeah. I thought that was last week, TJ, but apparently we signed up for 2 ARAMs in a row.
We're finally, Northside finally decide that there are other objectives on the map. So I was going to talk about this before that happened for like 3 minutes straight. The reason Northside, despite, like, obviously they had a lot of kills, the reason they had and do continue to have such a dominant gold lead is because Don Tyson are spending so much bloody time fighting that they're not actually getting very much CS. And you can see that across the entire map. It is a little bit better down bottom, but I'd like to highlight the CS difference between Arrow and Katamatics in mid. Like, across so much of the map, Don Tyson just are not achieving objectives because they want to fight.
Ekiskarna TP coming in. Olaf goes in. Ragnarok is huge. Constant support is low. Ragnaroking Olaf still alive for the time being. DB James with a huge disengage. The Face Smasher is powerful, as is the Showstopper. There's the Killer Instinct in the backline. Laugh Wizard is low. Will get taken out by the Acathian Rain. Cubsy, next one on the chase. DB James trying to stay alive in the backline. Will do so for the time being, but East Phantom over the wall looking for more. Ekiskarna trying to kite it out. Will find the stun. Zafix tries for more damage, but will not find it. Hextech Ultimatum should be enough, but East Phantom has so much healing. The fight is an absolute disaster for Northside as they get cleanly aced as DB James finally falls. Making me a liar here. Finally falls. There we go.
Northside win the first half of that fight, but all the kills they get are onto the wrong targets. They don't manage to shut down any of the big backline damage sources, let alone East Phantom, who's left to run rampant, get Kira. And now Don Tyson may have just team fought their way back into the game after an entire game of me saying they're team fighting too much. Maybe they weren't team fighting enough.
The horseshoe theory, it's from forest bathing to team fighting. The horseshoe theory holds true.
Maybe they're not forest bathing enough.
That's true. Just invade the jungle a little bit more. See what happens. See if you connect with your inner Earth spirit.
The Earth spirit is always around us.
So, East Phantom's kind of big.
Wow, you're not going to follow that one up. Okay.
No, I'm just going to let that one sit, TJ. Because all I could
really
think
thought we
is
had
mud is
something.
gross. That was my only response.
It is true. Mud is pretty gross.
That's all the Earth Spirit has to offer. I cry a lot, TJ, so there's just moisture.
Right. So even like dirt kind of becomes mud.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
it's concerning. East Phantom's in trouble, but maybe fine. Sand Unity comes out. Showstopper.
Oh, this gets real messy. The Haymaker finds the kill. East Phantom down. DB James should fall in trade. And Patrick is 1 HP left. Zero will take the front lines. Kira actually with a decent amount of HP, but no, Ragnarok needs to save this. Fight the reset. Here's Killer Instinct. No kills available. Kira down. Zafix deep into the backlines. And we are seeing the consequences of what you highlighted in the build. There is simply no damage for Zafix despite a dominant laning phase. And as a result, Don Tyson are able to win teamfight after teamfight.
Ekaskarna looking for a little bit more. Finds the slow onto Cubsy. Should be able to finish this one off. Hookshot wall dive will be coming up in a few seconds. But I've been wrong before. Oh no.
East Phantom. We're not done yet, baby. East Phantom in for the knockup, but the curtain call's already been spent, so it'll need to get more complicated. Master Arrow just has so much shielding. Here's Patrick to clean up the 2 kills, but it'll be a firm CC chain, and East Phantom is looking kind of monstrous after that.
I think that could have been salvaged if it had been a 2v2 instead of 2 isolated 1v2s. Because as soon as Master Arrow was like almost dead, Patrick was like, let's go. And I think that was a little bit of a timing and coordination problem.
Oh, no.
Baron's just going to spawn. I don't know what
TP's
to
in.
do about this.
This game, past the, 15-minute mark, has just been a 5-minute team fight.
So, I do want to talk about the Kayn, though, because we highlighted it early, and we were like, hey, Kayn doesn't do a whole lot early game. But we didn't talk about what happens when the Kayn inevitably gets out of early game. Now that you have the transformation, now that you have the Gore Drinker, now that you have the Death Dance, you are doing so much healing in these team fights, and you're going to be able to put out a ton of damage as well. The item changes were really, really, really kind to Kayn. He has a ton of in-fight healing now from the Gore Drinker because his Humble Trespass allows him to go essentially in an enemy. You can save on the cooldown for the Gore Drinker, so just watch his healing throughout this whole fight.
You might not have to, as he doesn't take a whole lot of damage. DB James will die. And the rest of the Northside High School members here should just be running for their lives. Kira forced to blow the Ragnarok defensively. Killer Instinct in. Oh, that's a huge turnaround. The Shockwave actually turns the fight. A double kill to Master Arrow. Kira actually finds more as well. And this is going to be a 1-team fight for Northside. Just Don Tyson bunch up too much. And Northside aren't interested in Drakes, by the way. They're just going for Baron.
I really don't think this is a good idea. This may be them throwing the game. It was a good fight, but you don't have any Baron damage. Your Kaisa has a Duskblade and a BF sword. What are you going to do? How are you going to kill this? Okay,
Olaf.
They're actually doing better than I thought. Never mind.
Yeah, Olaf is actually really shredding this.
Olaf is just vibing, man. What the hell?
Kira destroying this Baron, and they will get it very comfortably. A good call, it turns out, for Northside, despite our doubts.
You know what? I'm happy to be wrong. Turns out, full AD Kaisa doesn't really have a whole lot of trouble taking down the Baron when supported by a massive Olaf. I am still a little concerned about this build going into later stages of the game.
Yeah, talk to me, because we got BF sword now. What's going on here?
I don't know. I literally cannot figure it out, TJ, and that's why I'm concerned. Most likely thought...
What?
Oh, okay, so the BF sword was just to get the Q evolve? But there are definitely better itemization ways to do that. Another serrated Dirk would get the Q evolve as well and would build into Collector, which is a great item.
Around the corner, DB James trying to maybe zone away this Drake. It's unclear. Will go down to the pit. Drake was picked up by Don Tyson. Have no further thoughts on that matter.
No thoughts. Head empty. This build is like theoretically fine. I don't know what the BF sword is doing. I don't think it's the right call. I think you go for... You have to go for second serrated Dirk. Yeah, same.
Have you... Okay, stop for a second here because we're still team fighting.
Moonfall.
Curtain Call at range will be setting up for the Moonfall as the Killer Instinct goes into backline. Zafex may be able to turn this fight, but Kira's already low. Kira's down. It is all on Zafex, and they have a wild amount of damage with the Q now evolved. The East Phantom should win out this 1v1, but Zafex can make it interesting. With the flash away, they may be able to get to safety. Turn for a minion auto. It's the showstopper!
James!
DB James out of the airplane with a suitcase of cash to save the day.
Beautiful gameplay from DB James. Win or lose, DB James is the MVP of the match. I'm saying it right here. Ridiculous
the feds
plays.
will never find him.
Well, actually, he dropped his suitcase in a river somewhere, TJ.
Did he really? Did someone find the DB?
No, but they found theoretically some pieces of the cash that was stolen.
So for those who don't know, one of the only like great unsolved crimes in American history is DB Cooper, who got on an airplane, like took, I think it was from cash from passengers, if I remember correctly, and then jumped out of the airplane with a parachute and like several $1 million, and nobody knows what happened to him. Got away with it or died? Nobody's sure.
Or both. Probably both at this point.
If you die, you do get away with it.
So shoutouts to DB Cooper.
My
and DB
personal
James.
favorite theory is that he's Tommy Wiseau.
That's a good one.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
They have photographs of young Tommy Wiseau and the like witness sketches of DB Cooper, and they are pretty darn close.
Well, and because Tommy Wiseau's story of how he made all his money is like, I was selling
nobody
jeans.
knows where Tommy Wiseau comes from.
I started by selling jeans, and then I moved into real estate, and it's like, Tommy, nobody believes you, man.
Nobody knows where Tommy Wiseau comes from, and he is the kind of person who I believe would jump out of an airplane with several $1 million of cash.
100%. I
don't
have
know.
zero
Maybe
doubt in
look
my
into
mind.
that FBI. We're here to provide you tips.
This broadcast has now been co-opted by an FBI tip line.
We got sidetracked. I don't know how that happened, Matt.
Never happens to us. It never happens, TJ.
No,
It's
famously
so off-brand.
reliable broadcasters.
Oh, what a cute interaction. It didn't turn into anything, but it was really cool. DB Cooper wins again.
Woo! I'm gonna make the room too. That's what DB Cooper says.
I don't like that. Maybe DB Cooper shouldn't get away with it if that's his plan.
If Tommy Wiseau had been arrested as DB Cooper, we would never have the room.
God, the feds better get on that.
In the meantime, Don Tyson have been steadily losing ground across this map. That Baron buff that we talked up didn't actually accomplish too much for Northside. They certainly did grow their gold lead. They certainly are in control of this game. But it has not been decided yet, simply by virtue of the fact that they don't have enough map control to do so.
So, I hate to keep harping on it, but Zafix's build...
DB Cooper,
No, also yes, but Zafix's
we're
build
going
right
back.
now is in a really tough spot. The Oblivion Orb would not be my pickup. I'd probably go for the Executioner's Calling, because Oblivion Orb only procs on magic damage, which right now, without a I guess Nasher's Tooth provides it, but what are you going to build that into? Like, I don't think Morello's is great on Kaisa. Another reason I don't like the AP builds.
Ragnarok will be spent to get Kira out of that engagement. This is sole point, of course, for Don Tyson, which is why they are so determined.
Megascarna doesn't have a flank TP. Has the TP available, nowhere really to flank from that's advantageous.
Master Arrow. Looking for the tightly bunched group of players. Moonfall will not be deployed. He is shut down. Master Arrow already gone. In the meantime, it's the backline dive.
Catamatics.
Megascarna has found value despite lacking the TP. This fight is still looking good for Northside. The kite is solid from Don Tyson, though. Now, 2 kills to 1. His constant support fell, but they've got both Arrow and Akaskarna out, and Zafix, in the midst of all this, gets assassinated by Lack Wizard, and somehow Don Tyson kite the entire engage of the Grizzly Gamers, and they will be able to get this Cloud Soul, which is truly massive.
I think all of this is just off of East Phantom. You look at the end of that team fight. That team fight went on for a good minute, TJ. East Phantom's full health. Between Gore Drinker, Death Dance, Spirit Visage, and Kane's passive, you just stay alive in these fights so long. And East Phantom has really been capitalizing on that and keeping pressure on the DPS. And I think it's really coming back to roost for them as the Cloud Soul comes out.
And most critically, of course, that Moonfall, like, there's a Rabadon's Death Cap complete on Master Arrow. That Diana ultimate is so powerful. And they just got CC'd. They just got stunned and knocked up and stunned and hooked and died without ever getting to cast the ultimate.
Uh-oh. I don't like this chase down, Master. Chill. Chill down, Arrow. Go back to being a Windows theme.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you still run Arrow on Windows? Is that still the...
I think there's like a hacky workaround that doesn't mess up the operating system.
Default theme now?
I don't know what it's called. Windows 10 theme, probably, because Microsoft got real boring.
Ooh, hook will land. That is just going to be DB James. Caught. No! Showstopper! Phase rush! He's out, baby! Constant support will finally kill DB James, but it'll cost Cubsy's life. Now Moonfall successfully deployed, but watch out for the flank! It is exactly as Don Tyson planned. East Phantom on the full rotate comes up behind the entire team by Kirkle, arcs through the remaining players, and it's another good fight to Don Tyson. With the Cloud Soul in hand, they're now raring for a game 3.
The fallout from saving DB James was that Zafix lost all of their health, which meant the remaining team fight, you couldn't do anything as that AD carry. That Kaisa was useless, because there's no way to get back into the fight at that point. And then you're essentially in a 3v4, which was handily won by Don Tyson.
Check out this Baron take. Oh, East Phantom's here now. It was really slow for a second.
Yeah, East Phantom will fix it right back up. And be full health at the end of it.
Yeah. East Phantom is really kind of terrifying.
I understand all the Kane bans we've seen so far now. Like, I thought he was nerfed, because I haven't seen him in a while. My own games, but,
DB James?
kind of gross. James, what you doing?
He's really in the weirdest places this game.
Which is weird, because early game I would have said DB James was by far the best player on their team.
You said he was the MVP, win or lose, at like 15-minute mark.
I'm sort of changing that assessment.
He keeps showing up in Hollywood with a suitcase of cash. Says his name's Tommy Wiseau.
I sold jeans. Where'd you sell jeans to, Tommy? Where'd you get a production facility? Huh. I sold jeans.
No, it's all right. We'll just green screen the sky in.
Oh, hi, Mark. It's just the worst everything.
Tommy Wiseau is an American hero.
Canonically, that character in the room, Tommy Wiseau's character, is a vampire. So, suck on that, E.L. James.
An American hero. With Baron in hand, Don Tyson would like to take this mid turret, and I do not believe Northside can stop them. Status report, Matt.
They couldn't.
They could not.
I was just thinking about the room facts, sorry.
Yeah, you kind of faded out for a second.
There was going to be a flying car for Tommy Wiseau's character.
What?
Mm-hmm. Just leave you with that.
I mean, the special effects for the sky were pretty good. Unnecessary, but solid.
Imagine a flying car next to it. Wouldn't that have improved the film?
Didn't he make a shark movie recently, in like the last decade?
I think so. I know he made a movie called Best Fiends with Greg Sestero, who played Mark in The Room. Just weird. A weird dude.
Anyway, John Tyson didn't get a whole lot out of that Baron.
No.
Much like Tommy Wiseau didn't get a whole lot out of the suitcase of cash he escaped the airplane with.
He made the room, TJ. He's now famous.
But much like Don Tyson, that's like a minor victory.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a little bit more. This is going to be 2 Drakes over, or 2 turrets, sorry, over to Don Tyson, and not a whole lot else.
A lot of damage coming into that engage, forcing out the flash from Kira.
Or, sorry, 2 turrets and half of Kira's HP.
Well, that's easy. This one, the Olaf is just getting absolutely floundered.
We will have maybe another turret here in mid. I think this Baron's going to wear off pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just did. So, now that mid turret will stay alive, and Northside can maybe start to look for a fight. Who knows? I think Northside, like, they still technically have a gold lead. I think Northside can win fights here. Man, that Kai'Sa build is a trip.
Yeah. It is, like, many bad aspects.
Also, set Chem Tank.
I don't think it's, like, the worst. It's not.
Well, I have a personal hatred for top lane items being built on support stats. But what it is going to mean is that my other personal hatred, which is Phase Rush on set, is going to be alleviated a little bit. Because I normally hate Phase Rush on set because it just falls off late game. Whereas DB James will be boosted by this Chem Tank and will have all the move speed. He has Chem Tank plus Dead Man's Plate. He's going to have all the move speed and
plus
a
Mobius.
lot of HP.
A little terrifying. This is probably the last fight of the game, TJ. Whichever way it goes, Ekaskarna in the top lane will be farming it out. Oh my god, what?
That may be it. Elder Drake available. Don Tyson already popping people before they even get the Elder Drake. There in goes DB James, trying to tie up this fight into the back lines. He'll go half HP, already low. Haymaker will be deployed. Zafix trying to do the damage from the outside, can free fire, but everyone else on the team is already gone. Zafix will flash to safety for what little good that will do him. In the meantime, the Elder Drake is picked up, and with it, John Tyson very likely drive us to a game 3.
Really good team fight there, and oh my god, Katamatics does a ton of damage. I know the team fight was mostly on East Phantom, as evidenced by the fact that they are still full health after another full team fight around the Elder Drake, no less. But Katamatics just one-shot Master Arrow before they could find any kind of engage.
And I think there's been a very quiet mid lane for most of this game. With that Moonfall actually kind of scary. Cubsy will go down. 1 for 1. Arrow still alive. Zafex did get 1 kill off the Killer Instinct. This Elder Drake is too much, though, as is East Phantom. And so, the game should be over. The last stand will continue with Hextech Ultimatum deployed, but there is nothing that can stop East Phantom with the Elder Drake, and that means we're going to game 3, Matt. Don Tyson, in 36 minutes, will tie up the series score at 1-1.
It was a really, really close game until East Phantom decided that they were Kayn with a transformation. And then from there, it really did just snowball.
To be fair, we'd had a Victor in the mid lane kind of just sitting there, and we kind of forgot about him because he'd been losing. And then we got to the late game, and all of a sudden it was Victor in the late game. And that's a whole different story, and all of a sudden there's just an insurmountable amount of damage. That means we're going to game 3, and I don't know what my takeaways from this series are. I think my takeaway for Northside is that if you are playing into Don Tyson, don't play their game of just team fighting for 20 minutes. Because as we saw, game number 1, very intelligent. Okay, Don Tyson are going for a bad fight. We'll take that. We'll trade that. Game number 2, it felt like maybe that was lost. It felt like maybe they just fell into the trap of team fighting with Don Tyson. And Don Tyson, as it turns out, are okay to team fight for 40 minutes and then win the game. That is the game plan.
Weird.
So maybe don't fall into that trap. Call for Northside to have a little bit cleaner macro, a little bit more ability to say no when DB James is saying, I got him. I'm going to suplex him into the back lines.
Oh, man.
All right. I'll talk about it later. I do play set support sometimes, so I understand the urge. We're going to go to a quick break, Matt. 5 minutes from now, we'll come in for game number 3, the series decider, the Arkansas State champion. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. welcome back to the full 2020 High School Flame vs. Championship. I mixed up the words that time. My name is TJ, joined by Matt Vampiric Clendaniel. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was fancy. I didn't have to do my own intro, so I'm still waiting because I know you're gonna bring it back. I know you're gonna bring it back at one point as soon as I forget about it. So
Next time, here, I'll give you advanced warning. When we come into the next segment, which will be the next block of games, I'll just say, hi, my name's TJ.
Okay.
Then we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. Speaking of games, it's game 3. We're heading into the draft for the Arkansas State Final. And we have gone all the way. Game number 1, Northside punished Don Tyson's aggression, controlling their desire for team fighting and blood, and utilizing that to play to their own win condition, leading to a fairly clean win across 20-30 minutes. Don Tyson came into game 2 and team fought more. And Northside this time weren't able to stay away from it, leading to a 40-minute win for Don Tyson. Now we head to game 3, and my question is, how long do you think we're going? Because, going by the math, we should be going at least 10 more minutes. This should be a 50-minute game.
God, I hope not, TJ. The last time, look.
I want an hour of League of Legends.
I don't. Some people are like, man, I want the longest games of League of Legends because that means they're the most competitive. No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with competition. There are long games of League of Legends.
I want to feel like it's an entire episode of network television. We'll do the ad breaks. We'll talk about DB
There was
Cooper
an hour and
again.
30-minute game in the LCS in season 4. This is the reason Riot has been tuning down game length, because it was just the worst. It was just for a literal hour, people were not making progress in the video game until eventually one of them got tired enough that they lost.
I stumbled into the recording of that LCK game that went an hour and a half fairly recently, 2 seasons ago. And that was pretty good. I enjoyed listening to the casters lose their minds. That was pretty fantastic.
I don't want to have to lose my mind.
Have you ever seen Uno the movie?
No.
Oh, it's a 5-hour Uno game that you can find on YouTube. And we can talk about it later. We got a draft in the meantime. Laugh Wizard and East Phantom over on the left-hand side will grab themselves both an Aatrox and a Kayn, which I assume are just drafts for a role. As Kate Maddox will keep that going. Victor into mid. Opposing, it's Jin first pick for Zafix. Volibear and Aurelia to follow.
So, after that last game, after East Phantom solo carried the game on the Kayn, Northside were like, you know what? We got this.
Ban Shen.
I think I would have banned the Kayn over Shen.
I think so as well. But Kira, in respect to him, just said, no, I got this, get me my Volibear back. We'll win, trust me. And well, the Volibear was a huge part of the game 1 victory, so maybe that'll make all the difference in the team fights.
That's real ban as well. I guess they don't want them to be able to run back the DPS combo from game number 1, which was fairly potent despite not getting them the win. Zafix and DB Jams again on Jin and Alistar. Can't wait to see Zafix running solo, being chased down by 3 members as the team focuses on the other parts of Don Tyson.
Thresh Lucian. It's gonna be such a bad time for Zafix. He's just gonna be bullied early in lane. Thresh is real good at doing that. Northside draft a late game win condition as a result. I assume that's Vladimir mid into Victor. Aurelia will take the top side against the Aatrox. And we are playing some League of Legends today, Matt.
Yeah, this is interesting team comps coming out. Yeah?
We're going the full hour of League of Legends.
Oh,
we're going to watch some network television.
I don't know about that, TJ.
Let's head into the game. Here's why I think that. Vladimir, Victor, both these teams have an incentive to just keep that mid lane rolling. Aatrox, Aurelia, neither of those 2 champions are going to do anything interesting before the 15-20 minute mark. And we have seen from previous games, we have the accumulated data to posit that if these two teams start team fighting around the 20-minute mark, neither team is going to really get a decisive lead.
Okay, I can see it. I just don't think I support it, TJ. I always support.
I condone as much League of Legends as these lovely players would like to play.
I think if you get to that state in the game and you have not established an objective lead, something went wrong. Something went real wrong.
Oh, absolutely. There should not be hours of League of Legends, and yet there are, and they are glorious.
Okay. If you say so, TJ. I'll believe you.
Whenever I cast a MOBA game that goes entirely too long, I have a great time. I talk about DB Cooper for 15 minutes.
We have even more time, I guess.
Anyway, Uno the movie is a 5-hour, I think it may be longer, YouTube video you can find wherein a set of YouTubers set out to play Uno. And did in fact play Uno for 5 hours. Level 1s will happen here as DB James pokes into a bush. Constant support doesn't quite have the damage to secure this early game kill. I think they actually really could have, but they were scared that maybe they would miss CS, so they've opted for just zoning them off of wave, which is brutal.
Very funny, though.
Getting 0 CS from that first wave. It's going to be like a whole level difference. That's actually huge.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, we were talking about they don't have an incentive to end the game early, but this is a way to end the game early if you're able to push this advantage, especially Lucian, who spikes so strong at level 2. So, we'll see.
That's pretty much an entire death there. Like during the early game, it's pretty much the same cost as a death that they just inflicted on Zayfex because he got none of the CS
Literally
or XP
none.
from like an entire wave then.
Literally 2 CS now. Oh, what a beautiful death sentence.
Into the flay, which was also disgusting, and DB James has no HP remaining. Heal was not blown for what it's worth by Zayfax, so that is still in the tank, but this is going to further limit how accessible this wave is. And of course, that play was viable because Zayfax was still level 1 because of the level advantage that they just earned.
So I think from here, if you're East Phantom, you don't even need to gank your other lanes. You just need to make sure the one down bottom doesn't lose its advantage. And you can carry through the mid game in that. Because I think a Fed Lucian is just powerful enough to power through any team fights whatsoever. Like, as long as your Victor and Aatrox aren't getting crushed, you're essentially winning the game from here. So maybe chill towards bot.
Counterpoint. How are you going to gank that lane? It's going to be so shoved for the rest of this.
You're Kane! You go through the wall!
Oh yeah. I don't believe in ghosts. Hi, I'm Ray Ghostbuster.
Hey!
What's the name of the characters in that movie?
Egon was one of them.
You're right about that.
Venkman.
Huh. You have a weirdly good memory for the characters in the Ghostbusters movie.
Tipsy, Lala, and Poe.
That
Those
is
are Teletubbies.
astonishing.
Those are Teletubbies.
Is Ghostbusters like part of your childhood? Did you care about
No, I don't care about it at all.
How do you... Because it's... Okay.
I've seen it like twice, and it like has a place in pop culture where people are like, "Oh my god, Ghostbusters is so good," and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's fine." It's not gonna blow anyone's minds. Much like that gank, it's just there.
I feel like it's similar to like the Mission Impossible or the Fast and the Furious movies. Is probably a better comparison. Where I have no clue what any of the characters in Fast and the Furious are called. It's just Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I don't know that one either, Chief.
It's Dom, actually. I do know that.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Fast and the Furious movie.
You're making a mistake.
Am I?
Yeah.
From everything I've seen, I'm kind of making the right call. Also,
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson throws a missile through an ice sheet at a submarine.
Okay. All right, I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, TJ, Zafix somehow just caught up all of the CS difference.
He did rather, and I was confused because it felt like constant support was allowing Northside access to the wave so that they could set up for a gank. But as you may have noticed, there was not a jungle rotate headed towards that bot side. East Phantom has not been anywhere near this bot lane. And now, guess who is? Kira has been lurking in the bush, waiting in the wings. And that is a beautiful setup and easy kill for DB James in Northside High School.
Even the thumbs up from Zafix. Good BM. Fantastic BM mechanics. Honestly, I bet that is so cathartic after the early game, the level 1 that Zafix had.
I thought you were going to expand on that thought.
No. I mean, just, it's pretty self-explanatory, TJ. You have a garbage early game, and then finally you turn the lane around entirely, and then get first blood.
You think that would feel good?
TJ, I mean, I don't know how to tell you you're a robot, but maybe the first indication.
He spied too early!
Beep boop, a triple kill to boot.
Oh dear. It's gotten worse and worse. It's an early smite for Don Tyson, a really weird early jump over into the pit as well. They were just standing there. It wasn't great. Loses them an awful lot. This is going to be Don Tyson now down 3 kills, first Drake, and about 3,000 gold.
Really good start for Northside, TJ. I'm really feeling that one. The only place that Don Tyson have as an advantage is that top side of the map. Laugh Wizard doing really well into the Aurelia matchup, but I don't think it much matters, honestly. Like, it is a good anchor point, but it depends on how well you can affect the map from this point, right? And I've yet to see a teleport from Laugh Wizard. Maybe when that comes out, now that they're post 6, it'll change. DB James doing some. Feeling funky.
Going in for the engage, and as a result, Cubsy is low and gone. But watch this TP behind. Here comes Lap Wizard off of the top side with the CS lead and the World Ender, and already Zafex is gone. That is a necessary turn, but if I'm not mistaken, it is only Zafex that died there, and therefore maybe not what they were looking for, not what they were hoping that would yield.
Yeah, especially since Zafix still has a kill. But it is exactly what I was talking about, though, TJ. The only way that that Aatrox lead matters is if he makes a play across the map. So, very well done there.
Back Laugh. You can't back Laugh, Wizard. You have to stay for this because Kira is
Constant!
going back in, and Constant just has nerves of steel, stands there and takes the focus. And as a result, it is 2 more kills. Passed over successfully to Laugh Wizard. And they will be able to run that wave under tower again.
It's just, it feels like misstep after misstep from both teams as they try and go for more than they can easily justify. And that time, it was a huge punish for Northside. They were able to get a little bit done, and they were like, you know what, we can take this. And then they absolutely could not. And constant support playing incredibly well, bravely as you mentioned.
Play, waits for the Sanguine Pool. Cubsy times the hook, but cannot find it as Arrow had a flash ready to go. It is important, of course. Arrow has burned that flash now and has to leave lane.
Okay, so the early game, I don't know how to characterize this one, TJ. It's just kind of there. Northside is kind of winning, but that could tip over at literally any moment.
Yeah, Northside have a technical lead at this point, but as I said during the pre-game, if these two teams start fighting and just keep rolling, they are closely matched enough. Both teams are good enough mechanically and making enough macro mistakes, I think likely due to the stress of it being the finals, that nobody is necessarily going to win this. And that's why I believed we were in for a network television hour of entertainment.
We'll see, TJ. Still TBD. The Zaphix taking a
Underneath
ton
the
of damage
turret.
under the turret. Yeah, Cullen goes in, just running
just
to the
out.
other turret. He's running to blue side.
Guess who's coming? TP
The entire
in,
team.
Master Arrow as well. Constant support. You have stepped too far. Hemo Plague already deployed. Kurt Cole from behind the turret. Arrow's got the kill. It is a disaster.
Okay.
The
Cool.
League of Legends just keeps rolling back.
It really does, TJ. This is fight after fight after fight. It's starting to go Northside's way. You know, this was one of the criticisms we had last game was they were giving in too much to the way Don Tyson wanted to play. But to be fair, they seem to be now doing the same thing and winning off of it. So, bravo, I suppose.
I'm calling League of Legends because there's only one.
Oh! The flash over the wall to find the stun.
Those dueling daggers were nearly as nutty.
Gaskarna able to get that kill, and East Phantom's not worth a whole lot of gold right now. Beautiful stun from DB James. The stuns, the CC chains coming out from Northside are disgusting. I agree.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great view.
I also wouldn't want to look at that. I think we're just taking some time to calm down after what had occurred.
The observers had enough. So full disclosure, the way we're having to broadcast these games, just because of the density of high school play, some of these games are being pre-recorded. And so I suspect this was an error that was made during the recording, and we may just have to live with it.
Well, at least we can kind of figure out what's going on the map. Okay. DB James
Midi-map-tastic.
goes in for an engage.
Uh-huh.
East Phantom able to secure the dragon. Teleport flank coming in from the side of Master Arrow. Will be an Ocean Soul this map. It looks like Cubsy burns the flash, but won't be able to get out despite the flash and the box being used.
Huge plays.
1 kill for 1 dragon will be the trade here.
Cool.
Now we just kind of wait. So how's your day?
It's going pretty good. Well, I figured that we should forest bathe. So I asked the observer
Of course.
to bring us to a forest.
I never noticed that this is like a proper splash art if you look further in the background.
Yeah, so I was just looking at that. The first row of trees here are CG. What?
Mm-hmm.
Bring it
Put
back!
it back! This is ridiculous. Guess we'll have to check that out on our own time for some reason.
Struggling, man.
I'm just gonna leave you. Just see what happens.
Drake did go over to Don Tyson, of course, so they currently are behind overall. He almost died to those birds. That was an Alfred Hitchcock
still in
movie right
danger.
there. And it continues to be an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
I don't even know if it's worth it at that point. What was that? What was that for? Just to show that you could?
What's up, nerd? Says DB James.
Laugh Wizard with the solo kill under tower.
I don't even care. It's all about the Alistair hit and runs. That's what really matters.
This is a game, TJ. I don't know how else to describe it. I have no
I'm
more
enjoying
words.
This is a unit of entertainment that I require to continue for an hour.
I'll give it 20 more minutes, and then I think it's wearing out its welcome.
I want HBO episodes where you're like watching a TV show and you're like, this TV show episode sure is going. And then you check afterwards and it's like an hour and a half.
You're like, that was just a movie.
You haven't made a TV show, you've made 26 small movies.
I was watching The Golden Compass a
Exactly.
few days ago. There's big, same vibes. That show just goes. It goes, man. I forgot how dark those books were.
You were like, I'm feeling kind of down. Also, I'm watching The Golden Compass. And I was like,
Yeah. I saw the season 1 finale and I was like, I think I'm done watching The Golden Compass for a time being.
speaking of slightly depressing things, we did just see Zayfix get all but executed down there in the bottom lane. So a little more gold passed on over to Don Tyson.
They will be able to pick up this turret as well. So, first brick of the game. Going over to Cubsy. Happy about that. Gold in his pocket, TJ.
I've been distracted again.
What happened?
I got an email in Spanish from someone purporting to be Costco telling me that I was a lucky customer, which is wild because I am not a Costco member, nor do I speak Spanish.
Someone's SEO is really off.
Rift Herald did collide with a turret in the top lane, and Don Tyson did not quite lose that turret, but it was a decent amount of gold over to Northside. The gold lead that Northside had before the Drake, before the Rift Herald, before our scenic tour of the top of the map, has all but evaporated. So they've got to earn some more. That's why we're TPing into a team fight right here.
Castellana goes in. Vanguard's edge is clean.
Ooh.
Teleport coming in from the backside from Lap Wizard. Watch for this TP. This is going to be where most of the damage comes out in the latter half of the fight, but I don't even think it's going to be needed at this point. Zayf is forced to flash away, and they will find one at Cascarina. That's the disengage already coming out. Expected a much bloodier fight, TJ.
Yeah, Master Arrow goes into that fight, drops the Humo Plague, slips into the Sanguine Pool, and then just leaves. And because he was behind, because this is a kind of early game Vladimir, not yet doing vampire things, unlike Tommy Wiseau, that fight was unwinnable. Now we'll see if we can see a Drake steal. Curtain call in. Drake will go over to Don Tyson. Kiri, though, already has a kill. Laugh Wizard at the front of the fight should be able to get the trade. And that is going to be a flash out from DB James. Now, who can get away? Oh, not them. Not anyone over on North Side. Master Arrow, Proto
Run!
away. He's safe.
So once again, that is a huge team fight off the back of Laugh Wizard, and I think I definitely underestimated how much they were going to carry this fight on the Aatrox, carry the game rather. Because as soon as that flank came out, the team fight was guaranteed to be over. And I think that's going to be the trend we're seeing coming forward, because that is a huge Aatrox. And these fights are going to be, once again, much like last game, just drain take central between the Aatrox and the Kayn.
I'm like, okay, so if you're like, why does TJ keep saying this game's going for like 40 minutes? It's because right now Don Tyson are winning. But if we keep at this pace, if they do not kill Master Arrow is going to show up in the late game and start doing rough amounts of damage. Yeah. Vladimir just inevitably does that. Hey, welcome to our forest bathing podcast. Where's your pause?
We were talking about all the greatest
again.
forests. Yeah, I decided that my webcam would not listen to the settings I gave it. And this is a technical decision by me and not faulty hardware on the part of Logitech.
Add more light.
You know what? There we go. Why does it go into focus better when I do that? Did you see that? Where it got brighter and then like...
The camera, you turned up your light and the camera like it sorted itself out.
I turned it down. The light is like significantly lower now. Should be...
Oh no, it's compensating.
What is it? What is it compensating? Is it the white balance?
I think it's compensating to the hottest whites in the shot, which in this case is the side of your face that is just being obliterated by whatever's happening there.
Here, I'm just gonna get as bright as possible.
Whoa.
It like refocuses to be almost okay. That's the problem. That's the frustration.
I appreciate how much your room flickers like it's a low-budget horror movie on these trips.
I have to turn the automatic everything off. This is... I hate
Apparently
cameras.
we've been unpaused, so let's kick things off.
Okay.
Our unit of League of Legends is ready to go again, Matt.
Hooray! Oh, God, why won't my webcam just listen to me?
Look.
Change the settings? I think it's
What?
haunted.
Oh my
Okay.
God, Vanguard's Edge?
He's
He's got him!
Patrick! Patrick!
Okay, I was gonna say there was a ghost in your webcam, but I didn't have time. I got distracted by an excellent kill down there. So here was what I was gonna say. Right now, this Aatrox is real scary. Right now, this Aatrox is a one-man army. But he is a one-man army. Because come late game, constant support's progress during this mid-game isn't actually going to matter that much. He's still going to be good. It's better than old Lucian, but it's not going to be a carry presence. So the carry presences in this game skew towards Northside, and we're going to see this Vladimir, this Jhin, this Aurelia begin to be real scary in team fights, and I'm a little bit worried for Don Tyson. And that's why I think this video game is going long no matter what happens.
We'll see, TJ. Master Arrow somehow surviving so far. Will not have the same luck in a second here as East Phantom rotates up towards the top side of the map. Hemo Plague won't pop in time either.
I suppose he would have been run down probably, so there's no reason not to.
On the off chance you can get the actual Crimson Rush. Get the healing. But now that is a 1-1 and 3 Vladimir. Kira's doing okay on this Volibear, which is surprising me because like the times I've seen Kira on screen, things haven't gone great. But apparently,
What do you mean? He has been slam dunking people into Space Jam 2 the entire video game.
yeah, and then his entire team dies, and I think that's like the big takeaway is nothing has
That's Space
seemed
Jam
to come of it. Oh, okay, good to know.
Directed by Zack Snyder, really dark. The presence of Kira at the start of these fights has been defining. I'm with you that he's not doing a whole lot towards the end of them, but also he's like Volibear. You can't expect him to do that. The reason why Northside have been losing the second half of these fights is because they don't have a whole lot of damage.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change until Vladimir shows up to work, and that's not going to happen for another 5 minutes or so.
Ekascarin is still good and able to provide some decent damage. Problem is you have no 1v1 in the side lane power right now, because that Aatrox will just win. I think we are in a long one, though. I agree with you there.
Told you that for the draft.
Yeah, but I was not expecting it to be... we have a different definition of long one. I'm thinking 30, 35.
I literally said an hour of entertainment in the draft.
Yeah, and I still disagree with an
You
hour.
had a different definition of hour?
No, I disagree with hour. I said 35 minutes. 35 game time.
Okay. If it's over 35 minutes, Matt has to watch Space Jam with me.
All right. Doesn't sound too bad. I've watched the CW for entertainment before.
It is better than the CW's television show.
There you go. I heard an ad for them on a podcast
For
recently.
Space Jam.
No,
They're
I wish.
making a sequel, Space Jam 2.
No, for the CW. And I was like, I don't really think they need advertisements. They're making a Nancy Drew TV show, apparently.
What a good choice. Oh, it's a danger bush, Matt.
Nancy Drew would have sniffed that one out, Catamatics.
Catamatics got out.
Ah, Nancy
Oh,
Drew!
they're turning it.
She
They
was
are
just
the
baiting
danger
it.
bush.
The most clever detective in all the land.
It's Nancy Drew.
So Don Tyson, I think, we were saying this goes long, but I think both of us, well, I never forget, are about the Ocean Soul. I think if you're able to secure that as Don Tyson, the game is just over because there's no way you ever lose a fight from now on. You already have so much healing, and this was the thing last game. You have so much healing from the cane that he'll never die.
Kira, how does this work? Talk me through it, Kira.
Talk me through your plan. Okay. Later then. We'll talk about it later, I guess. Master Arrow goes in for a huge flank. Hemoplague comes out as well. And that will
my God,
find
it
the kill. It somehow worked. Safe is still
What
up.
a great plan!
East Phantom 22 alive. Where's the Baron going? Has it reset at this point? Laugh Wizard
No.
tries to find it. The Baron didn't
picked
reset.
up.
What the hell is going
500
on?
left on the Baron, and Northside take it. Why? I could not tell you.
Oh my god. That was a disaster of a fight. Anyways, ace for
Practically
Northside
the
High
back
School.
Of the fight, constant support just gets found by Asgira, and the second that there's no Lucian for big damage, then the entire team fight is on East Phantom. Guess who goes down second? That's right, East Phantom's gone. There's no smite, there's no damage. It's just Laugh Wizard trying to stay alive in the middle of like 6 people, and also the Vladimir's online now. And so, the Grizzly gamers themselves keep our game going. Now they've got a gold lead, and that means Matt Niveria, Daniel, that this Ocean Drake, this Ocean Soul is going to be mighty difficult for Don Tyson to take.
I don't want you to be right. I don't want you to be right at all. Okay. Yeah, you're right. That Ocean Soul is going to be real rough, but I believe in Don Tyson. Bring this game before 35. This is just a point of pride now. I don't care who wins as long as they win within 35 minutes. So, you know, Northside, if you decide you can just run it through.
Anyway.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be
This has
caster
been
biased,
by the
TJ.
way,
It's entertaining.
I don't know if it is coming across, but I would like to emphasize how much we are enjoying this video game.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank the state of Arkansas for providing us with it.
Shout out to the state of Arkansas. All I know now, sick League of Legends.
Addictingly good League of Legends. Maybe get the FDA on the case of this. It's like vapes, you know? Gotta regulate it. That's what they say about
Sure.
Arkansas's League of Legends.
They sure do.
We should regulate that.
I think Tyson's going to come out with their own League of Legends. Sponsoring the Don Tyson School of League of Innovation. I'm so sad, TJ. I got through all of the Don Tyson facts in the Summer Showdown. So I have no
I was
new
thinking
ones.
of the box art to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but it just says Don Tyson's League of Legends.
Okay, I'm into that. Get on it, School of Innovation.
Not actually very innovative.
I mean, it's reduce, reuse, recycle. They're really good. Good for the environment if you reuse the box art.
So the reason we're not talking about what Northside are doing with this Baron is because they haven't managed to do anything with it yet.
They're still figuring that out, so until they do, we don't really have much to talk about it.
Check out this flank. DB James in, flayed. That's not great. Curtin Cole behind him. Most of the damage is going into Cubsy. Cubsy sure is low, but they flash to the back of this fight. Laugh Wizard takes the front lines. Laugh Wizard will fall, and that looks real good now for Northside as they are able to rush through this mid turret. Minimal casualties. They only lose their top laner, Ascara. They're able to take 2 kills in the run.
TJ.
And the turret.
Beautiful play
They are
there
out of
from
Baron.
Northside, but they ran
That's
out.
why they got a back, a reset, because it's Ocean Drake time now.
Arrow, I really get nervous every time you approach the Raptors by yourself. Also, can we appreciate how high level Master Arrow is? I've literally just noticed this. Highest level in the game by far, 4 levels up on anyone on their team.
You want to know why? That's because Arrow this entire game has been stealing all of the jungle camps from Kira, which makes a lot of sense. I don't think stealing is the wrong word, right? Because Kira's just, you can see, letting this happen. Because Kira's playing
reallocating
attack,
resources.
he doesn't need gold. Oh, they're just rushing it.
They're going to be able to get
Northside,
this.
they're nearsighted. You don't notice it. Ocean Soul goes over.
Teleport coming in from the backside for Master Arrow. There goes the Hemoplague in the front of the fight, but Laugh Wizard is so big, healing so much off every single skill cast and auto. Master Arrow trying to DPS from the backside of the fight, but look at Laugh Wizard, just not going down at all. Same for East Phantom. The 2 healing drain tanks of this team cannot be taken down with that Ocean Soul. Constant support as well, going to be able to find an assassination here onto Zephyz. There's the triple kill. I think this game just turned for Don Tyson.
Northside just didn't go to the Drake. They were just like, that's fine.
It's cool. We'll get one later. There is no later,
Tyson,
guys.
as a result, may have just ended the game. They get the Ocean Soul, and they're rushing in. It is 17 seconds on Master Arrow, who's probably the only one who can actually hold this push. Hero will be back first. But Tyson don't care. They got other things to do. They're going to go take the Baron, be extra sure.
May as well at this point. They've got a minute left on that, or thereabouts, and this is really good from Don Tyson. Being able to turn that game off the back of that Ocean Drake just shows how strong early objective control can be. Having that soul point advantage going into the final fight was really crucial. Now they have not only triple Ocean, but the Ocean Soul itself, so they're not going to be able to get killed out of a fight from sustained damage. The only way they can have a death is from burst. Luckily for Northside, they have a little bit of that in the Jhin, a little bit of that in the Vladimir, but I don't know if it's enough.
Okay, so normally when an Ocean Soul goes over, I say this game is over.
Mm-hmm.
With Morellonomicon on Vladimir, I'm not sure it is, because Morellonomicon is so good at just applying, or sorry, Vladimir is so good at just applying that Morellonomicon to the entire team fight. So it's unclear how scary this Ocean Soul really is, but it is certainly good. Don't get me wrong. Don Tyson are in control of this game now, despite the fact that the gold mat is still dead even.
I think we're sleeping on the fact, though, that East Phantom and Laugh Wizard are going to be able to both have Black Cleaver, which sounds like I'm talking, bull, which I kind of am, but Black Cleaver, the passive, is really strong if you can ever stack it up. The problem a lot of people are having is that solo stacking Black Cleaver is a Sisyphean task. You get up to like 4 stacks, 3 stacks, and you just end up the fight's over. But with 2 people applying it, they're just
starting the
Baron.
Baron.
Okay.
Catamatics was on Watchtower duty. He has lit the beacon. Half HP on Baron. Curtain call for vision mostly. Little bit of
Kira
damage.
on the side.
Kira.
Ultimate goes in.
He's
Not
too
gonna be able
late.
to find it, though. There's the ultimate in, but it won't be enough. The fight comes out as well. DB jams with the secondary engage. Ekiskarna going in for the dive. Donjay Tyson is in a whole lot of trouble, but Laugh Wizard still full health, as is East Phantom. Get the Aurelia off of them, and they'll be fine. Laugh Wizard tries to go in for more. The Gore Drinker keeps him alive. The full ace comes out, and Don Tyson's School of Innovation are looking to find their way to the state championship.
Call League of Legends. We got a sequel. Don Tyson's League of Legends. What a great series. I enjoyed every single second of it. Don Tyson, it looks like, have sealed their place as the Arkansas State champions. Will be able to take the series 2-1.
Told you, TJ. Within 35 minutes. Don Tyson's. It was 31 minutes and 40 seconds, TJ. Don Tyson School of Innovation brings it home for me and brings it home for Arkansas. So thanks and congratulations to them. I want to bet.
I would like to just thank the entire state, because once again, that was some of the most fun I've had casting League of Legends in a while. There was a lot of really good mechanical play. The macro was wildly questionable. But both of us are big fans of the LPL, and there was like that kind of energy. So if you just want to learn how to team fight, if you are a high school gamer trying to work out how you can improve your mechanics in team fights, Arkansas is the place to play. Maybe you'd like to sign up for the next season. Maybe you're like, I gotta learn in Arkansas. You can sign up for the next upcoming season of Spring League of Legends at playingversus.com. Play starts on March 1st, so be sure to sign up now. We got more League of Legends still ahead. We've still got more state finals, 2 of them, to blast through today. If you don't want to miss them, stay tuned. We'll be back after this.